Hey everyone, James Lynch here doing a quick reaction video to the news that Khamzat Chimaev is officially out of his fight with Robert Whittaker next Saturday. He's been hospitalized. We don't know exactly what's going on, but Full Violence getting a screenshot of what Chimaev posted on his Instagram here. It's in Russian. I don't know what any of this means. BJ Penn picking up the slack here and just mentioning that Chimaev hospital just hours after reported withdrawal from UFC Saudi Arabia. So again, we don't know why he's out. And replacing him is going to be Ikram, who will be taking on Robert Whittaker, of course, the highly touted middleweight prospect, someone who's actually fought Chimaev outside the UFC as well, 15-1 record. He's going to be stepping up to take on Robert Whittaker. And this makes a lot of sense in terms of the optics of this card. This is in Saudi Arabia. Obviously very, heavily, witnessed Muslim crowd. People, they wanted a Muslim fighter on this card and someone in the main event. So there's really two options. It was Ikram or basically Nasruddin Imavov to take this spot. Now, Imavov just fought. There was some talk, and something I was hearing behind the scenes was that Imavov was the leading candidate, but they settled on Ikram. And what an opportunity here from Ikram to go out and, take out a top contender here in Robert Whittaker. And full credit to Robert Whittaker. He doesn't gain a lot from getting this fight. Right? He just came off a win over Paulo Costa in his last fight. He is currently ranked in the division. Let's just find that right here. He is currently ranked, I want to say number 5, around there. Whittaker is, he's number 3. And you can see Ikram's not even ranked. And look, I know a lot of people are high on Ikram. They think he's going to be a future champion, all this different stuff. He has not fought a legit opponent yet in the UFC. So that's where things are going to be interesting. We're really going to find out how good he is. Remember, he was supposed to fight Paulo Costa last year, and then they removed Costa from that fight. He's supposed to fight Anthony Hernandez. That was another good test for him here. But going from Warlley Alves, who predominantly has fought his career as a welterweight, to Robert Whittaker is a big step up. So it's kind of a huge, well, it's a very big opportunity here for Ikram. And for Robert Whittaker, it's a chance to take out a hot prospect. This reminds me a lot of the Abus Magomedov and Sean Strickland fight, although that was not a late replacement, but it was the type of thing where the UFC is really identifying some of these, really talented prospects and giving them big opportunities. Is it deserved? Is it not? It doesn't really matter at this point because Ikram is getting this opportunity, and I imagine Whittaker got paid pretty well to take this fight. Of course, I had another video earlier today talking about Whittaker saying anyone, anytime. He obviously heard that Chimaev was out, so now he takes on Ikram in this fight. Let's do a quick tail of the tape between these two. I'll be doing a full breakdown of this on Monday when I do my preview show, but you can see there Whittaker 33, Ikram 31, so not a big age gap here. A lot of people thinking he's a lot younger. 2 years is not much, although in fight years, Whittaker certainly has fought a lot more. 6 feet tall apiece, 73.5 to 76, so a bit of a reach advantage there for Ikram in this fight. My early pick on this fight is going to be Robert Whittaker based off the fact that Robert's fought better opposition. He's tough to finish. I know in the fight with Paulo Costa, that was one that was a little bit worrisome with him nearly getting finished in the first round. He did come back and win that. And then you've also got, the loss to DDP as well before that. So that's a little bit concerning as well. But I just haven't seen enough from Ikram to feel confident about picking him here. Can he win this? Absolutely. But I just think right now it's tough to say that he will win this fight because he just has not fought a great opposition. I know people argue as well, he fought Chimaev, he fought some other guys outside the UFC like Nishan Burrell or whatever. Phil Haas isn't in the UFC anymore, and Phil Haas has been knocked out a handful of times. Warlley Alves, like I said, just lost the fight after this to Abus Magomedov. I don't think Warlley Alves is doing any damage in the middleweight division. So yeah, that's where I would have to favor Whittaker here. And I know just because of the fan base, you're going to get a lot of people picking Ikram and saying, you don't know what you're talking about and all that. We'll see. He has a chance to prove this. What an opportunity here for Ikram to go out there and prove people wrong and get a big, well, not prove people wrong. What a chance to go out there and, show that you are this future champion. That's something we've been hearing from a long time for their fan base. And for Robert Whittaker, like I said, it's a chance. I look at it just like the Strickland situation. Strickland went out there and beat Abus. He got a great opportunity after that, getting to fight for a title. With Robert Whittaker, same thing. If he gets another win here, how can you deny him being at the top of the heap in the middleweight division? I know people look at the fact that Ikram's not ranked, but again, Rob stepping up to the plate for the UFC, you would imagine they're going to reward him for taking this opportunity here. And I believe, I'm just looking here. I actually haven't double checked this. I'm assuming this is 5 rounds. It's a main event, so it would have to be 5 rounds. I don't think Ikram's really gone 5 rounds before, right? That's another thing to consider. So, if you can't finish Whittaker early, and don't get me wrong, Whittaker has been finished before. DDP and Adesanya finished him at middleweight, Wonderboy at welterweight. I think we can forget about Robert Whittaker at welterweight because that was a long time ago. But at middleweight, Whittaker has fought a lot of guys that have finishing ability. Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, lots of guys. Let me just go through the list instead of me just darting it off here. And Paulo Costa. Right. And so the fact that he wasn't finished by any of these guys, I think it's going to be very hard for Ikram to do it. If Ikram's going to win this fight, I think it will be early. I do see it very similar to the Chimaev matchup. But, you know, the longer this fight goes, you have to favor Whittaker, I would think, just because he's got that 5-round experience. I mean, this is a guy who not that long ago went 5 rounds with Yoel Romero, who's very dangerous, very, very good wrestler, very, you know, talented guy. He's gone 5 rounds a number of times. So that's where I think Whittaker has the advantage, is that I don't think it's going to be an easy out for Ikram. But maybe it is. Again, we've seen things become unpredictable before. Where, you know, an up-and-comer. And again, Ikram, you know, this isn't the end of the world if he loses this fight. If he loses this fight, big deal. He can come back and get it. With Whittaker, I mean, this is sort of his last sort of run towards a title. I know he's only 33, but, you know, it's kind of a division that's, you know, there's a lot of moving pieces right now. And it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens. Just last thing I wanted to mention on Chimaev, just very disappointing that this happens now. Chimaev, basically since he's had COVID, has not really been that active, and it's starting to become a thing with him. I'm not going to be the guy to say, oh, he's pulling out and all that. Obviously, Chimaev, an absolute warrior. Just disappointing. You know, the UFC really wants to push him. He had all that momentum when he signed with the UFC, you know, coming in, competing very quickly, all these different things. And, you know, now it just is not, there hasn't been that much activity, and I don't really know where he goes from here, because I think the plan was, had Chimaev beat Whittaker, he's probably getting the next shot at the rumored fight between Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis. So now this sort of throws a wrench in things. You know, you got Sean Strickland out there too. We'll see. We'll see if Rob wins. If Ikram wins, you never know. They could give him the title shot as well. You know, that's something to consider as far as the implications. And the other thing we got to mention too, Ikram was already supposed to be on this card against Tricoli. So, you know, it's not like he's, well, sorry, he was supposed to fight last week, I guess. Or this coming weekend, sorry, he's supposed to fight then. So it is a bit of short notice, but at least he was getting ready for a fight. It's not like he's, you know, out of the blue just getting to fight Robert Whittaker like this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, I'm not saying Ikram can't win this fight. I just think with everything we have at our disposal right now, I feel better about picking Robert Whittaker, just because he is a pretty durable guy overall. Just 2 stoppage losses and a number of fights at middleweight. We might as well actually do the count right now. He's had how many middleweight fights? He's been a middleweight since what, 2000 and, I think Clint Hester was the last, yeah, first middleweight fight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 middleweight fights, and Whittaker's only been finished twice. I like those odds. Now, granted, he's getting older, but he's not that old. Like I said, he's 33. It's not like we're talking about a 40-year-old here. I think Whittaker has shown that outside of, like I said, the DDP and Adesanya fights at middleweight, he's pretty tough to take out. So yeah, right now, early pick is Whittaker. I'll think about this over the weekend, but I think my pick is probably still going to stand on this one. I would love to hear your prediction for this fight, as it is just being announced today. Again, Khamzat Chimaev out. If I get any details on what has, you know, kept Chimaev out of the fight, I'll try and update you guys while I can. But for right now, this is what we know. Whittaker, Ikram going to be fighting next Saturday in Saudi Arabia, so you definitely don't want to miss this fight. Very intriguing matchup, and I think a very similar matchup as well, as far as, you know, fighters needing to prove themselves. That was the one thing with Chimaev. Yes, he had a great win streak, no ranked wins. Ikram, same thing. He doesn't have a single ranked win at middleweight. If he beats a Rob Whittaker, he immediately skyrockets, and, you know, there could be a case of, you know, giving him a title shot, because you just know how the UFC likes to push certain prospects. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What is your pick for this fight? What is your prediction? I don't just want to get your pick. I want to know your prediction. And what do you think of the replacement here? Again, I think the only other option possibly was Imavov, but maybe there was a case if he just fought. And, you know, again, just looking at the rankings right now, just before we close out here, I mean, I don't really know who else could have taken it. Like, Strickland's not going to fight Whittaker on short notice. I don't think. Strickland just fought. You know, Imavov, again, yeah, just fought as well. You know, Paulo Costa lost. I just don't really have an interest in seeing that rematch. Vettori's not going to get it. Brendan Allen. You know, Brendan Allen possibly could have been an option, but I don't know, maybe. No, here's the other thing we got to mention too. Sorry, before we get out of here. It needed to be a Muslim fighter, right? Like, that was the whole reason they built the Saudi card, was for Chimaev. You get Ikram, who's also Muslim. I'm looking at the list here. I'm not seeing any other Muslim guys other than maybe Roman Dolidze. But outside of that, yeah, this was probably the best choice if Imavov wasn't ready to go or didn't feel the need to take this fight. And again, for Imavov as well, you're coming off 2 wins. I know the last one was controversial, but I also understand his perspective. Like, Robert Whittaker's not really a guy you want to fight on short notice, based off the fact that, you know, he's coming off 2 big wins. With Ikram, you know, this is like playing with house money. You went from Worley Alves to Robert Whittaker. That's a big jump up. So again, let me know your prediction in the comments. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. I'm James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.